Welcome. Fifth standard, lesson 5, The Great Spirit of Solitary. Question answer, part 2. English first language, part 1. As per 2024-2025 Karnataka State Board syllabus, glossary. Column means pillar. Terrain means a stretch of land. Spirit means ghost. Supernatural being. Abode means home. Cell means cut down. Tribe means live. Agony means great pain. Comprehension. First main, choose the most appropriate answer from the four alternatives given below each statement. First question. The foresters could never drag the huge trees to the city because A. Only 30 foresters were dispatched. B. The trees were very heavy. C. The foresters were lazy. D. There was a difficult terrain between the forest and the city. The correct answer is D. There was a difficult terrain between the forest and the city. Foresters struggled because the land made it impossible to transport such massive trees, despite various attempts with horses, bullocks, and elephants. 2. The foresters worshipped the tree spirit because A. They were afraid of it. B. It commanded them to do so. C. It gave the tree great strength, size, and beauty. D. It was just a custom. C. It gave the tree great strength, size, and beauty. The foresters revered the tree's spirit because they believed it was the source of the tall tree's grandeur and vitality. 3. The tree spirit requested the king that it be felled. A in one stroke all at once, B in three strokes, C in two strokes, D branch by branch. Answer is B in three strokes. The tree spirit requested to be felled in three parts to prevent the young saplings growing beneath it from being crushed by its fall. Second main, say whether the following statements are true or false. 1. The king sent his men to forest to cut down and bring the mightiest tree. 2. The king sent his foresters to find and bring the mightiest tree in his kingdom for his palace column. 2. Only elephants could be used to move the tree. False. The foresters tried using horses, bullocks, and elephants, but none could transport the massive tree due to difficult terrain. 3. The leaves of the salt tree were concerned only about themselves. False. The leaves were concerned about the young saplings growing under the tree, not just themselves. Fourth question. The king was very pleased to change his mind at the tree's first request. False. The king initially refused the tree spirit's request and insisted on cutting the tree for his palace. Fifth, the king decided that the column for the new palace should be built of stone. True. After the tree spirit's plea, the king changed his mind and decided to use stone instead of wood for the palace column. Third main, answer the following questions in 2 or 3 sentences each. 1. How did the king want to make his palace special? The king wanted his palace to be unlike any other by making it stand on a single wooden column carved from the mightiest tree in his kingdom. He believed that it would make his palace unique and remarkable. 2. Name the animal suggested by the king for pulling the tree. The king suggested using horses, bullocks, and elephants to transport the massive tree, but none of them could carry it due to the difficult terrain and marshy ground. Third one, how did the tree spirit describe itself to the king? The tree spirit described itself as a protector and provider, explaining that it had been worshipped for generations, offering shade, shelter, and a hope to birds and wild creatures. It emphasized its role in supporting life and pleaded with the king to reconsider cutting it down. Fourth main, match column A with column B. Column A has animals suggested by the king. Column B has the reasons for not being used to use the animals to drag the tree. 1. Horses. Answer is B. Would not be able to move the tree even an inch. Second one, bullocks. It matches with C. Would not be able to force their way in the dense forest. 3. Elephants. Matches with A. Legs could sink in the marshy ground. Writing. First main, answer the following questions in paragraph 6 to 8 sentences each. 1. What did the foresters warn the tree spirit about? How did they know that he had answered their plea? The foresters warned the tree spirit that the mighty salt tree would be cut down within 7 days to serve as the column for the king's palace. They performed rituals with garlands, lamps, and music, believing the spirit would understand its fate and leave the tree. After their offerings, the tree leaves rustled and its branches bowed, which they took as a sign that the spirit had accepted their plea. However, the worshipping leaves expressed a sorrow, not for themselves, but for the young saplings that depended on the great tree's shade and protection. 2. Some of the little ones may escape. What quality of the tree spirit does this statement convey? The statement some of the little ones may escape conveys the tree spirit's selflessness and deep sense of responsibility. Despite knowing its own fate was sealed, the spirit prioritized the survival of the young saplings growing beneath it. It pleaded with the king to allow its fall in three parts rather than one, hoping that at least some of its children would survive. This demonstrates wisdom, compassion, and sacrifice, qualities that highlight the spirit's noble nature. 3. The king felt that the spirit of the salt tree was nobler than his own. Why did he feel so? The king felt the spirit of the salt tree was nobler than his own because of its selflessness and concern for others. Initially, the king was determined to cut down the tree to achieve his grand vision, disregarding the consequences. However, when the tree spirit pleaded not for its own life but for the young saplings under its care, the king was deeply moved. He realized that the spirit held a wisdom greater than his own, valuing life and continuing over personal ambition. This revelation led him to change his mind, spurring the tree and acknowledging its nobility. Second, when write an imaginary dialogue between you and a tree which is getting cut down. Me, oh no, I see the marks on your trunk. Are they really going to cut you down? Tree, yes, my friend, the humans have decided that I must fall. Me, but you have stood tall for years, offering shade, shelter, and life to so many creatures. Why must they take you? Tree, they want to build something in place. They do not realize that once I'm gone, the birds will lose their nest, soil will grow weak, and the air will lose a little of its purity. Me, that's heartbreaking. Is there anything I can do? Reset. If only more people could understand my role in the world, not just as wood, but as the guardian of life. Tell them, remind them. Maybe then the acts will pause. Me said, I promise I will. We, like you, deserve protection, not destruction. Language exercise. First main vocabulary. Substitute the sentences with one word, choosing from the choices given in the box below. 1. Government by kings and queens. Monarchy. Second one, feeling of pain, agony. Third one, cutting down trees in a forest, deforestation. Fourth, plants in a particular region, flora. Deforestation about monarchy, spirit, flora, agony. Second main, pick out the opposites of the following words from the text. True, false, accept, reject, dissuade, pursued, domestic, void, rejected, granted, liking, displeased, dislike. Grammar. English language uses a few words to describe actions or give extra information to a verb. Deer runs fast. Snails move slowly. Some people rarely work. She sings well. They fought bravely. He is seriously ill. The words underlined in the sentence above describe the manner of action in each of them. They are called adverbs. Adverbs are usually formed by adding ly to the described words. Careful, carefully, serious, seriously, brave, bravely. Now identify the adverbs in the following sentences. The child listened patiently to his mother. Patiently describes how the child listened. 2. The horse rode as quickly as possible. Quickly describes how the horse rode. 3. Students answered correctly. Correctly describes how the students answered. Fourth, I read silently. Silently describes how I read. Fifth, the farmer told the hiker plainly. Plainly describes how the farmer spoke. Sixth, Joe cried bitterly when he broke his new glasses. Bitterly describes how Joe cried. Second main, list different actions that you do between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at school every day and say how you do them. Listen carefully. I sit I sit comfortably. I read attentively. I speak clearly. I write neatly. I play energetically. I think creatively. I answer confidently. I walk steadily. Third main, there are a few adverbs which are used to express the frequency of the action done. Example, I often read the newspaper. They never play in the evening. Rekha usually goes to school with her brother. Lankesh sometimes drinks coffee. The words underlined are adverbs of frequency. They express how often one does the work reading, playing, going, drinking, and so on. Often is the adverb here. Never play, usually go. Sometimes is the adverb here. Which adverb it is? It is adverb of frequency. Correct the following sentences. I ate quick. It should become I ate quickly. Second, unfortunate everyone was injured in the accident. Unfortunately, everyone was injured in the accident. Comma should come here. Third one, he spoke to her gentle. He spoke to her gently. Fourth, they all spoke loud. They all spoke loudly. Fifth, it rained heavy. It rained heavily. Sixth, he shut the door quiet. He shut the door quietly. Now imagine you need to tell your friend how often you do the following. Fill in the table below using the tick mark and construct sentences as shown in the example. I always obey my parents. The answer for this is actions. Play in the evening always. Read books in English usually. Obey teachers always. Walk in the school park often. Watch TV sometimes. Visit relatives never. Read the newspapers usually. Then play hockey often. Quarrel with friends never. Now, here are some sentences built out of those. I always pray in the evening. I usually read books in English. I always obey my teacher. I often walk in the school park. I sometimes watch TV. I never visit relatives. I usually read the newspapers. I often play hockey. I never quarrel with my friends. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and save the playlist. Thank you very much. Bye bye.